The great hall of the Galactic Council was filled with fear. Hundreds of alien voices spoke at once, their words mixing into a chaos of panic. Ambassador Korvath stood at the center of the room, his blue skin pale with worry. His forearms shook as he held the data tablet that contained the worst news the galaxy had ever heard. "The Draconis Empire has broken through our last defense line," Korvath said, his voice barely heard over the noise. "They have destroyed the entire Third Fleet. Admiral Zentrix and his 20,000 ships are gone. Nothing remains but empty space and biomatter." The room fell silent. The Third Fleet had been their strongest force, equipped with the most advanced weapons the galaxy could build. If they could not stop the Draconis Empire, then nothing could. High above the main floor, in a small observation area, 3 humans sat quietly and watched. Admiral Jake Morrison was an older man with gray hair and calm eyes. He had fought in many wars back on Earth, but he had never seen fear like this. Next to him sat Dr. Lisa Carter, a woman with short brown hair who studied alien life forms. The third human was Commander Alex Hayes, younger than the others but with the same steady look that all Earth military officers seemed to have. The aliens below had barely noticed them when they first arrived 3 years ago. Earth was new to the galaxy, and the other species thought humans were primitive. Their technology looked simple compared to the energy weapons and bioships that other races used. The humans used bullets and explosives, things that seemed old and outdated. "They are scared," Dr. Carter said quietly, watching the aliens argue below. "They should be," Admiral Morrison replied. "The Draconis Empire does not just kill, they consume. Every planet they take, every person they capture, becomes part of their bioships. The victims stay alive and aware while their bodies are used. As fuel." Commander Hayes checked his secure communication device. A new message had arrived from Earth Command. His eyes widened slightly as he read it. "Sir, we just received authorization for Operation Checkmate. All assets are cleared for deployment." Admiral Morrison nodded slowly. For 3 years, while the galaxy saw them as weak newcomers, Earth had been preparing. They had watched every battle, studied every alien technology, and planned for this exact moment. The galaxy thought humans were primitive because they used simple weapons. They never asked why a species that could travel faster than light would choose to use bullets. Down in the main hall, Ambassador Korvath continued his report. "The bioships are adapting to our weapons faster than we can create new ones. Our energy beams that worked last month are useless now. The Draconis creatures learn and change their bodies to resist whatever we use against them." A tall alien with 6 legs stood up. "What about the quantum defense grid? Surely that can stop them." Korvath's face grew even more pale. "The grid fell 2 days ago. The bioship simply absorbed the quantum energy and used it to grow larger. They are now 3 times bigger than when they started." More voices joined the panic. Some aliens suggested running to the far edges of the galaxy. Others wanted to surrender and hope the Draconis Empire would show mercy, though everyone knew they had never shown mercy before. Dr. Carter pulled up her own data tablet and reviewed the information they had gathered about the Draconis forces. The Empire's fleet was massive, spread across hundreds of star systems. Each bioship was alive, able to heal itself and change its body to defend against any weapon used against it. The creatures inside controlled millions of smaller ships, all working together like parts of a giant living machine. "How many ships do they have?" Commander Hayes asked. "Current estimate is over 10 million vessels," Dr. Carter replied. "Each one is unique, evolved from the remains of species they have conquered. Some are as small as fighters, others are larger than space stations." Admiral Morrison studied the tactical display. The Draconis Empire had been growing for 50 years, consuming everything in its path. They had defeated every species that tried to stop them. The galaxy's greatest military minds had tried every strategy, every weapon, every defense. Nothing worked. "They adapt to energy weapons," Morrison said quietly. "They absorb quantum attacks. They heal from biological warfare. But has anyone tried the simple approach?" "What do you mean?" Dr. Carter asked. "Has anyone tried shooting them with regular bullets?" The question seemed strange, but Morrison was serious. While other species had developed more and more complex weapons, humans had perfected the art of making simple things work very well. A bullet was just a piece of metal moving very fast. It did not use energy that could be absorbed or quantum effects that could be turned against the user. It was just solid matter in motion. Down in the main hall, the debate continued. Some aliens suggested creating a new superweapon. Others wanted to try negotiating with the Draconis Empire. A few even suggested using time travel to prevent the war from starting. Finally, Ambassador Korvath raised all four of his arms for silence. We have discussed every option. Our fleets are destroyed. Our weapons are useless. Our defenses have failed. He paused and looked up at the human observation area. There is only one group we have not asked for help. All eyes turned to the three humans sitting quietly above. Many of the aliens looked confused. How could these primitive newcomers help when the galaxy's greatest powers had failed? Korvath's voice was humble now, very different from the proud tone he had used when humans first joined the council. Honored representatives of Earth, we formally request your assistance in this dark hour. We know your military is small compared to ours, but perhaps you have some knowledge or strategy that we have not considered. Admiral Morrison stood up slowly. His movements were calm and steady, showing no sign of the fear that filled the room below. Dr. Carter and Commander Hayes stood with him, all three humans presenting a united front. We accept your request for assistance, Morrison said, his voice carrying clearly through the Great Hall. Give us 5 hours. The room erupted in confused voices. 5 hours? The Draconis fleet would reach the capital system of Andromir in 6 hours. There was barely enough time to evacuate the planet, let alone mount a defense. Admiral Morrison, Korvath said carefully, perhaps you do not understand the scale of the threat. The Draconis Empire has 10 million ships. They have defeated forces 100 times larger than Earth's entire military. How can you possibly mobilize a defense in 5 hours? Morrison's expression did not change. Ambassador, you have made an error in your understanding of humanity. You looked at our weapons and assumed we were primitive. You saw our simple technology and thought we were weak. He paused, letting his words sink in. You never asked the right question. What question is that? Korvath asked. Why would a species capable of faster-than-light travel choose to use bullets and bombs? Morrison's smile was cold and confident. The answer is simple. Because they work. Commander Hayes stepped forward and spoke into his communication device. Earth Command, this is Commander Hayes. Operation Checkmate is authorized. Deploy all assets. Show them what humans do best. Dr. Carter looked down at the assembled aliens with something that might have been pity. You are about to learn why Earth has only fought one type of war for the past 3,000 years. What type is that? An alien voice called out. Admiral Morrison answered as he turned to leave. Total war. We do not fight to win battles or capture territory. We fight to completely destroy our enemies, so they can never threaten anyone again. The three humans walked out of the observation area, leaving behind a hall full of confused and frightened aliens. In 5 hours, they promised, the threat would be over. It seemed impossible, but something in their calm confidence made even the most skeptical aliens wonder if these strange creatures from Earth might actually have a plan. As the great doors closed behind the humans, Ambassador Korvath realized that in 3 years of knowing these beings, he had never once seen them afraid. Not when they first encountered alien technology far beyond their own. Not when they learned about the vast empires that controlled the galaxy. Not when they heard about the Draconis Empire that had consumed entire civilizations. Perhaps, he thought, there was a reason for that confidence. Perhaps the galaxy was about to discover what had made humans the dominant species on one of the most dangerous planets ever discovered. In 5 hours, they would all find out. The moment Admiral Morrison left the council chambers, everything changed. Deep in the Sol system, around Earth's sun, machines that had been sleeping for 3 years suddenly came to life. Lights began to glow in the darkness of space. Engines that had been cold started to warm up. Weapons that the galaxy had never seen began to power up for the first time. Captain Ryan Blake sat in the command chair of his ship, the Silent Arrow. For months, he and his crew had been following the Draconis fleet without being seen. His ship was designed to be invisible to every type of sensor the galaxy used. While the aliens thought humans only had a few dozen ships, Blake knew the truth. There were hundreds of human vessels hiding in the empty spaces between stars, watching and waiting. "All ghost ships, this is Wraith Leader." Blake spoke into his communication system. "Time to come out of the shadows. Show them what we have been doing for the past 3 years." Across the galaxy, 300 ships that no alien had ever detected suddenly appeared on sensors. They had been there all along, studying every Draconis battle, recording every weapon, mapping every weakness. The aliens had thought humans were too new to understand galactic warfare. They were wrong. On Mars, Dr. Lisa Carter walked through a laboratory that officially did not exist. The red planet's underground facilities stretched for miles, hidden beneath the surface where no alien spy could find them. For 3 years, her team had been working on Project Pandora, using samples of Draconis biomatter that Blake's ships had secretly collected. "Begin production of virus strain Alpha 7, Dr. Carter ordered her team. "Target the cellular regeneration systems. Make sure it spreads fast and cannot be stopped once it starts." The beauty of biological warfare, Carter knew, was that the enemy never saw it coming. The Draconis Empire thought their bioships were perfect because they could adapt to any energy weapon, but adapting to a virus designed specifically for their biology was a different problem entirely. Her assistant, Dr. Kevin Rogers, looked worried. "Are you sure this will work? Their bioships have never been infected by anything before." Carter smiled as she watched the virus cultures grow in their containers. "That is exactly why it will work. They have no immunity to diseases because they have never needed immunity. We are about to give them their first cold, and it is going to be fatal." Lieutenant Colonel Amy Foster stood in the armory of the orbital station above Earth's moon. Around her, 3,000 soldiers prepared for a mission that seemed impossible. They were going to board enemy ships in the middle of space and fight creatures that had never been defeated in close combat. But these were not ordinary soldiers. Each one had been changed by human technology in ways the galaxy could not imagine. Their bones were reinforced with metal stronger than ship armor. Their muscles had been enhanced to work in zero gravity. Their lungs could process any atmosphere, or work without air at all. Most importantly, their minds had been trained to think like humans, which meant they never gave up and never fought fair. "Listen up," Foster told her troops. "The aliens think bioships cannot be boarded because they are too well defended. They are right. These ships are too well defended for aliens to board. But we are not aliens. We are humans, and humans specialize in doing impossible things." The soldiers checked their weapons. Unlike the energy guns that other species used, human soldiers carried kinetic weapons that fired solid projectiles. They also carried explosives that worked by simple chemical reactions. The aliens thought these weapons were primitive, but they had one advantage that energy weapons did not have. They always worked, no matter what kind of armor or defense the enemy had. Commander Alex Hayes stood in Earth's most secret military facility, buried under the ice of Antarctica. The room around him was filled with holographic displays showing the positions of every human ship in the galaxy. The aliens had no idea that humans had built a communication network that worked instantly across any distance. "All units, this is Earth Command." Hayes spoke into the quantum communication array. "Operation Checkmate is now active. Phase 1 begins now. Show them what we have been building." Across the galaxy, human ships that had been invisible suddenly became visible. Weapons platforms that had been disguised as asteroids powered up their systems. Soldiers who had been hiding on alien worlds stepped out of the shadows. In one moment, the human military went from seeming small and weak to revealing its true size. The numbers were staggering. 6,000 ships appeared on sensors across 40 different star systems. Each ship was equipped with weapons that worked on principles the aliens had never seen. Instead of energy beams that could be adapted, humans used projectiles that moved at incredible speeds. Instead of complex quantum effects that could be turned against them, humans used simple explosives that just blew things up. Admiral Morrison's flagship, the Earth's Wrath, uncloaked near the edge of the Draconis fleet. The ship was massive, larger than anything humans were supposed to be able to build. Its hull was made from materials that absorbed energy instead of reflecting it. Its weapons were designed to destroy rather than disable. Galactic Command. This is Admiral Morrison of the Terran Defense Force, he announced on all frequencies. We have visual confirmation of all Draconis fleet positions. We have identified their command structure and mapped their tactical formations. Beginning Phase 2, Shock and Awe. On the bridge of his command ship, Vorthak the Devourer received the first reports of human ships appearing. He was not worried. His biofleet had crushed every enemy they had ever faced. These humans, with their primitive metal ships and simple weapons, would be just another meal for his growing empire. How many ships do they have? Vorthak asked his tactical officer. Approximately 6,000 vessels, my lord. All of them appear to be using kinetic weapons and chemical explosives. Vorthak laughed, a sound like breaking bones. Kinetic weapons? Chemical explosives? What century do these creatures think this is? Our bio-armor has evolved beyond such primitive concerns. Begin the attack. Show them what happens when primitive beings challenge the perfect evolution of the Draconis Empire. But as Vorthak gave his orders, something was already going wrong. Several of his outer ships were reporting strange malfunctions. Their biosystems were acting strangely, as if something was interfering with their normal functions. Dr. Carter's virus, hidden in what appeared to be normal space debris, had already begun its work. The Draconis ships, designed to absorb any material they encountered to fuel their growth, had unknowingly infected themselves. The virus spread through their biosystems like fire, attacking the very foundations of their existence. Captain Blake watched from his invisible ship as the first Draconis vessels began to show signs of the infection. Ghost Leader to all units. Pandora is working. Target the infected ships first. Do not let them spread the contamination to healthy vessels. The human strategy was becoming clear. While the aliens had spent decades trying to create more powerful weapons, humans had focused on making their simple weapons work better. Their railguns could fire projectiles at 30% the speed of light. Their explosives were designed to work in any environment. Their viruses could target specific biology with surgical precision. Lieutenant Colonel Foster's drop troops prepared for launch. Their mission was to board the largest Draconis ships and capture them from the inside. It was a task that no other species had ever attempted, because it was considered suicide. Remember your training, Foster told her soldiers as they entered their drop pods. These creatures have never fought humans in close combat. They do not know what we are capable of. Show them why humans are the apex predator of the most dangerous planet in the galaxy. The drop pods launched from hidden human ships, invisible to Draconis sensors until it was too late to stop them. Each pod contained a squad of enhanced soldiers equipped with weapons designed specifically for boarding actions. They were about to teach the Draconis Empire that there was a big difference between consuming helpless civilians and fighting humans who were prepared for war. As the first hour of Operation Checkmate ended, the galaxy's understanding of human capabilities changed forever. The species that had been dismissed as primitive newcomers revealed themselves to be the most advanced military force anyone had ever seen. Their weapons were not simple because they were backward. They were simple because they worked. Admiral Morrison stood on the bridge of his flagship and watched the tactical display. Thousands of human ships were moving into position around the Draconis fleet. The enemy still outnumbered them by more than 1,000 to 1, but numbers had never been what mattered in human warfare. All units, this is Admiral Morrison. Phase 2 is authorized. Begin systematic destruction of all Draconis assets. Remember, we are not here to win a battle. We are here to end a war. The galaxy was about to learn why humans had only one rule of combat. They fought to win, completely and permanently. The first shot of the war came from Captain Blake's ship, the Silent Arrow. His railgun fired a single tungsten rod, no bigger than a pencil, at 30% the speed of light. The projectile hit the closest Draconis bioship and punched a hole straight through it from front to back. The massive creature, larger than a city, died instantly as its vital organs were destroyed. Vorthak the Devourer watched in shock as 12 more of his largest ships were destroyed in the same way. The humans were using simple metal projectiles, but they were moving so fast that nothing could stop them. His bioships had evolved armor that could deflect energy weapons and absorb quantum attacks, but they had no defense against solid matter moving at incredible speeds. "Impossible," Vorthak growled. "How can primitive kinetic weapons penetrate our evolved armor?" His tactical officer was already working on the problem. "My lord, their projectiles are traveling at relativistic speeds. At that velocity, even a small piece of metal carries more energy than our largest plasma cannons. Our bioarmor cannot adapt fast enough to stop them." Captain Blake smiled as he watched the enemy ships try to respond to his attack. "All Ghost ships, begin Pattern Alpha. Target their command vessels first. Make sure they cannot coordinate." A response. 300 invisible human ships opened fire at once. Thousands of tungsten rods streaked across space at speeds that made them impossible to track. Each shot was perfectly aimed, hitting vital systems and command centers. The Draconis fleet, which had seemed unstoppable just moments before, began to fall apart as their largest ships were destroyed one by one. But the kinetic bombardment was only the beginning. Dr. Carter's biological weapon was already spreading through the enemy fleet. The virus she had created was designed specifically for Draconis biology, attacking the cellular structures that allowed their ships to heal and adapt. The first infected ship began to convulse as its own body turned against it. The bioship's healing systems, trying to repair damage that was not there, started destroying healthy tissue. Within minutes, the massive creature was eating itself from the inside out. "Report from the medical bay," Dr. Carter said as she monitored the virus from her laboratory on Mars. "Strain Alpha 7 is working better than expected. The Draconis bioships have no immunity to targeted biological attack. They are dying faster than they can adapt." More ships began to show signs of infection. The virus spread through the fleet like wildfire, carried by the very communication systems the bioships used to coordinate their attacks. What had been their greatest strength was now their fatal weakness. Lieutenant Colonel Foster's drop troops had launched from their hidden ships and were now approaching the largest Draconis vessels. Their mission was to board the enemy ships and destroy them from within. It was a task that no other species had ever attempted because it seemed like suicide. But Foster's soldiers were not like any other troops in the galaxy. They had been enhanced with technology that made them stronger, faster, and tougher than any alien warrior. More importantly, they had been trained in the human art of war, which meant they fought dirty and never gave up. "Drop pods away," Foster announced as her soldiers launched toward the enemy fleet. "Remember, we are not here to fight fair. We are here to win." The drop pods were too small and fast for the Draconis ships to target effectively. They struck the bioships like bullets, punching through the outer hull and embedding themselves deep inside. The soldiers inside emerged into alien environments that would have killed any other species, but their enhanced bodies allowed them to fight in vacuum, toxic atmosphere, or crushing gravity. Foster's own pod struck the side of a bioship, the size of a small moon. She and her squad cut their way out of the pod and found themselves inside a living nightmare. The walls around them pulsed with alien life. The air was filled with toxic gases. Strange creatures that served as the ship's immune system rushed toward them. "Weapons free," Foster ordered her squad. "Show them what humans do to things that try to eat us." The human soldiers opened fire with weapons designed specifically for close combat in alien environments. Their guns fired explosive rounds that worked in any atmosphere. Their armor was powered by miniature reactors that gave them unlimited energy. Most importantly, their tactics were based on 3,000 years of human warfare, refined through countless conflicts on the most dangerous planet in the galaxy. The Draconis creatures that attacked them had never faced anything like human soldiers. They were used to fighting enemies that used energy weapons and followed predictable patterns. Humans fought like nothing else in the galaxy, using tactics that seemed random, but were actually carefully planned chaos. Foster's squad advanced through the bioship, destroying everything in their path. They planted explosives on vital systems, released more of Dr. Carter's virus into the ship's bloodstream, and systematically eliminated the crew. Within an hour, they had captured one of the largest ships in the Draconis fleet. Similar battles were taking place across the enemy formation. Thousands of human soldiers had boarded hundreds of bioships, bringing the war directly to the enemy's most protected spaces. The Draconis Empire, which had conquered the galaxy by consuming other species from a safe distance, was learning what it felt like to be invaded. Admiral Morrison's flagship, the Earth's Wrath, moved slowly through the battle space, its massive hull shrugging off attacks that would have destroyed any other ship. The Draconis fleet concentrated their fire on the human command vessel, but their weapons seemed to have no effect. "Sir, they are hitting us with everything they have," reported Commander Hayes from the bridge. "Bioplasma beams, quantum disruptors, molecular acid, none of it is getting through our shields." Morrison nodded calmly. "That is because our shields work on different principles than theirs. They are trying to overwhelm us with energy, but our gravitational field deflectors simply bend space around us. Their attacks are missing us even when they hit directly." The Earth's Wrath's main weapon began to charge. It was a device that collapsed matter at the quantum level, removing the target from existence entirely. The weapon had never been tested in combat, but Morrison was confident it would work. Human engineers did not build weapons that failed. "Target the enemy command ship," Morrison ordered. "Let us introduce Vorthak to human military doctrine." Vorthak's command ship was a monster 300 kilometers long, containing the consciousness of billions of devoured souls. It was the heart of the Draconis Empire, the brain that controlled their entire fleet. Destroying it would cripple their ability to coordinate attacks. The quantum collapse weapon fired. There was no visible beam, no dramatic explosion. The Draconis command ship simply stopped existing. One moment it was there, the next moment there was empty space where it had been. With their central command destroyed, the biofleet began to turn on itself. Ships that had been working together started attacking each other as their coordination broke down. The careful formations that had made them unstoppable dissolved into chaos. "All units, begin Phase 3, Morrison announced. "Systematic destruction of all remaining assets. Leave nothing that can regroup or escape." The human fleet spread out across the battlefield, hunting down the scattered Draconis ships with methodical precision. Captain Blake's stealth ships appeared and disappeared like ghosts, striking from impossible angles. Dr. Carter's virus continued to spread, turning bioships into plague carriers that infected everything they touched. Foster's soldiers moved, from ship to ship, capturing or destroying anything that tried to resist. The battle that had begun 2 hours ago was already over. The Draconis Empire, which had terrorized the galaxy for 50 years, was being systematically destroyed by a human fleet that had revealed itself only hours before. Commander Hayes monitored the tactical situation from Earth's command center. "Sir, enemy fleet strength is down 70%. Remaining ships are scattered and unable to coordinate. Some are attempting to retreat." Morrison's response was immediate. "No retreats, no survivors, no second chances. This ends here and now." The galaxy was learning that humans did not fight battles. They fought wars, and they fought them to the finish. What happened next was not a battle but a lesson in mathematics. Human war doctrine reduced combat to simple numbers. Every shot was calculated. Every movement was predicted. Every outcome was inevitable. The Draconis Empire was about to learn that humans did not fight wars to win battles. They fought wars to solve problems permanently. Captain Blake's stealth ships demonstrated the human concept of complete destruction. Where other species might disable an enemy ship and move on, humans made sure nothing survived. Their doctrine was simple and brutal. Dead enemies do not adapt, evolve, or seek revenge. "Ghost leader to all units," Blake announced over the secure channel. "Begin Scorched Earth protocol. No biomatter survives. No data cores remain intact. No possibility of regeneration." The remaining Draconis ships trying to escape the systematic destruction found their retreat routes blocked by human vessels that had somehow predicted their every move. It was as if the humans could read their minds, anticipating every tactical decision before it was made. Dr. Carter's biological weapons had evolved beyond her original design. The virus, encountering the vast genetic diversity of the Draconis biofleet, began to mutate and adapt in real time. Each infected ship became a breeding ground for new strains, creating dozens of different versions of the weapon. The virus is exceeding all projections, Dr. Carter reported from her laboratory. It is not just killing the bioships. It is learning from them, becoming more effective with each infection. The enemy's greatest strength has become their fatal weakness. The Draconis ships that had not yet been infected began to panic. They started destroying their own vessels to prevent the spread of the virus, but it was too late. The biological weapon had spread through their communication systems, their supply lines, and even their shared consciousness network. Lieutenant Colonel Foster's troops began the grim work of processing captured vessels. The Draconis bioships contained something horrible, the consciousness of their victims. Billions of souls from conquered worlds were trapped inside the living ships, kept alive but unable to die, forced to power the Empire's war machine. Begin. Extraction protocol. Foster ordered her teams as they moved through the captured ships. Every consciousness pattern gets preserved and documented. No one stays trapped in these things. The human soldiers, equipped with experimental technology, began the delicate process of separating the trapped minds from their biomechanical prisons. It was painstaking work that required both surgical precision and incredible compassion. Each rescued consciousness was carefully extracted and prepared for eventual return to their homeworld. Foster's soldiers worked with the efficiency that defined human military operations. They were not just destroying an enemy fleet. They were performing the largest rescue operation in galactic history, saving billions of beings who had been condemned to a fate worse than death. The Galactic Council, monitoring the battle from their command center, watched in stunned silence as humanity demonstrated why they were the dominant species on Earth. Their scientists frantically tried to understand how human weapons worked, how their ships moved faster than physics should allow, how their soldiers survived in environments that would kill any other species. "How is this possible?" Ambassador Korvath asked his scientific advisor. "Their weapons should not be this effective. Their tactics should not work this well. Their soldiers should not be able to do what they are doing." The advisor, a brilliant scientist from the Zentari race, could only shake his head. "They are using principles we have never seen before. Their kinetic weapons somehow ignore our understanding of physics. Their biological weapons are more advanced than anything we thought possible. Their soldiers appear to be enhanced beyond anything we considered feasible." Commander Hayes began Phase 4 from Earth's command center. "All units, commence total sterilization protocol. Destroy all biomatter at the molecular level. Eliminate all data storage systems. Remove all traces of Draconis technology from the galaxy." The human fleet spread across the battlefield like a plague of efficiency. Every piece of wreckage was collected and destroyed. Every fragment of biomatter was incinerated using weapons that broke down organic material at the atomic level. Even the space itself was being cleaned using theoretical devices that the galaxy's scientists insisted were impossible. Captain Blake's ships began hunting the scattered remnants of the Draconis fleet. The few vessels that had escaped the main battle found themselves stalked across the galaxy by invisible predators. One by one, they were located and eliminated with the same cold precision that had destroyed their main fleet. "Target acquired," Blake reported as his sensors detected a group of bioships hiding behind a gas giant. "Initiating pursuit protocol. No survivors will escape to rebuild." The fleeing Draconis ships tried to use the gas giant's gravity field to hide from human sensors, but they had underestimated human ingenuity. Blake's ships were equipped with detection systems that could track biosignatures through any kind of interference. Admiral Morrison observed the carnage with the calm expression of a man who had seen too much war. He stood on the bridge of Earth's wrath, watching his crews work with mechanical precision. This was not cruelty or revenge. This was simply how humans waged war when the survival of civilization was at stake. "Galactic Command, this is Admiral Morrison," he announced on all frequencies. "Draconis primary fleet is 95% destroyed. Remaining vessels are in full retreat. Beginning final elimination protocols. The last major Draconis battle group, still numbering in the thousands, attempted to make a final stand around a gas giant in the outer system. They positioned themselves in the planet's atmosphere, hoping the dense gases would protect them from human weapons. They discovered that humans had a weapon for every situation. Dr. Carter's team had prepared something special for exactly this scenario. Instead of trying to dig the enemy ships out of the gas giant's atmosphere, they would turn the planet itself into a weapon. Fusion Cascade torpedo armed and ready, reported the weapons officer aboard Earth's Wrath. Target is the gas giant's core. Estimated yield will create a temporary star. Morrison gave the order without hesitation. Fire. The torpedo, no larger than a car, struck the gas giant's core and triggered a controlled nuclear fusion reaction. For 3 minutes, the planet became a star, burning with the fury of 1,000 suns. When the light faded, nothing remained but superheated plasma and empty space. The Draconis ships that had thought themselves safe in the planet's atmosphere were gone, vaporized by temperatures that exceeded the surface of most stars. It was overkill on a planetary scale, but it sent a clear message to any remaining enemies. Humans would use any weapon, destroy any obstacle, and pay any price to protect their allies. Dr. Carter monitored the aftermath from her laboratory. All biosignatures in the target area have been eliminated. No traces of Draconis genetic material remain. The fusion cascade has sterilized the entire system. Lieutenant Colonel Foster's teams completed their rescue operations aboard the captured bioships. Millions of consciousness patterns had been successfully extracted and prepared for transport to medical facilities where they could be given new bodies or returned to their original forms. Rescue operations complete, Foster reported.
All viable consciousness patterns have been preserved. The bioships have been sterilized and prepared for destruction.
The human military machine worked with the efficiency that had made them the apex predator of Earth. Every task was completed perfectly. Every objective was achieved on schedule. Every enemy was eliminated completely. As the 4th hour of Operation Checkmate ended, the galaxy began to understand that they were witnessing something unprecedented. Humanity had not just won a battle against impossible odds. They had demonstrated military capabilities that exceeded anything in galactic history. The Draconis Empire, which had terrorized civilizations for 50 years, was being erased from existence with mathematical precision. In 4 hours, humans had accomplished what the combined forces of the galaxy could not achieve in decades of warfare. Admiral Morrison's final order was simple and absolute. Complete the mission. Leave nothing behind. As the 5th hour ended, silence fell across what had once been the most feared fleet in galactic history. Where millions of bioships had spread across light years of space, there was now only empty void and the quiet hum of human vessels conducting final sweeps. The war that had raged for decades was over, ended not by superior numbers or advanced technology, but by the simple human approach to solving problems completely. Admiral Morrison stood in the observation deck of Earth's Wrath, watching his crews work with the same methodical precision they had shown throughout the operation. Every piece of Draconis biomatter was being collected and destroyed at the molecular level. Every data fragment was being analyzed and archived. Every tactical lesson was being recorded for future reference. "Sir, final sweep complete," Commander Hayes reported from the bridge. "All Draconis signatures have been eliminated from the primary battle zone. No biomatter remains active. No data cores survived intact. The area has been completely sterilized." Morrison nodded slowly. This was how humans waged war when the survival of civilization was at stake. They did not fight to win battles or capture territory. They fought to permanently solve problems, ensuring that defeated enemies could never threaten anyone again. Captain Blake's stealth frigates had completed their new mission, hunting down the scattered remnants of the Draconis Empire. Across the galaxy, the few ships that had escaped the main battle were tracked down one by invisible predators who knew exactly where to look. "Ghost Leader to Earth Command," Blake reported from the Outer Rim territories. "Final Draconis holdout has been eliminated. Stealth reconnaissance confirms no remaining bioships in this sector. The species is extinct. The words carried across the quantum communication network to every human vessel in the galaxy. The Draconis Empire, which had consumed 17 star systems and billions of lives, no longer existed. They had been erased from the universe with the same thorough efficiency that humans applied to every task. Dr. Carter supervised the most important part of the operation, processing the rescued consciousness patterns from the bioships. Her medical teams worked around the clock to prepare millions of extracted minds for return to their original bodies or integration into new forms. It was the largest rescue operation in galactic history, made possible by human technology that no other species possessed. Status report on the Consciousness Recovery Project, Carter announced to her team. How many have we successfully extracted? Dr. Kevin Rogers checked his datapad with amazement in his voice. Over 4 billion individual consciousness patterns have been successfully separated from the biomatrix. All are stable and ready for reintegration. We have representatives from over 300 different species, some that were thought extinct for decades. The magnitude of what they had accomplished was staggering. Not only had humans eliminated the greatest threat the galaxy had ever known, they had rescued the victims that other species had given up for dead. It was mercy and efficiency combined in a way that only humans seemed capable of achieving. Lieutenant Colonel Foster's troops conducted the final phase of their mission: intelligence gathering and facility destruction. Every captured Draconis installation was stripped of information before being completely destroyed. Every bioweapon sample was cataloged and countered. Every strategic asset was either eliminated or repurposed for defensive use. Final intelligence sweep complete, Foster reported as her teams finished their work. We have complete records of Draconis technology, biology, and tactical doctrine. All threat assessment data has been archived. Enemy capability for regeneration or revival has been reduced to 0. The thoroughness was typical of human military operations. They did not simply defeat enemies. They studied them, learned from them, and ensured that similar threats could be recognized and countered in the future. It was this attention to detail that made human warfare so devastatingly effective. The Galactic Council chambers, which had been filled with panic just hours before, now buzzed with a different kind of energy. Representatives from hundreds of species gathered to witness something unprecedented: the complete elimination of an existential threat to galactic civilization. Ambassador Korvath approached Admiral Morrison with an expression that mixed awe, gratitude, and barely concealed fear. Admiral, what you have accomplished today defies every law of warfare we know. Your fleet, your weapons, your tactics. How is any of this possible? Morrison's response was measured and calm, delivered with the same steady confidence he had shown throughout the operation. Ambassador, you made a fundamental error in your assessment of humanity. You saw our kinetic weapons and chemical explosives and assumed we were primitive. You never asked the important question. Which was? Korvath asked, though part of him was afraid to hear the answer. Why would a species capable of faster-than-light travel, quantum communication, and gravitational manipulation choose to use bullets and bombs? Morrison's expression was neither threatening nor boastful, simply factual. The answer is elegantly simple: because they work. While you developed energy weapons that could be adapted to, and shields that could be bypassed, we perfected the art of putting large amounts of matter in small spaces very quickly. Commander Hayes delivered the final operational report from Earth Command. Operation Checkmate complete, Admiral. Total Draconis fleet strength eliminated, 99.97%. Estimated time to complete galaxy-wide cleanup operations, 72 hours. Human casualties, 0 killed in action, 14 wounded. All injuries classified as minor. The numbers were beyond belief. In 5 hours and 17 minutes, humanity had accomplished what the combined military might of the Galactic Council could not achieve in decades of warfare. They had not simply won a victory, they had eliminated an entire species that had terrorized the galaxy for generations. The rescued consciousness patterns were already being prepared for transport to medical facilities across the galaxy. Families that had mourned loved ones for decades would soon be reunited. Entire species that had been declared extinct would return to life. It was a miracle made possible by human technology and human determination. Dr. Carter supervised the final stages of the consciousness recovery project. Transport ships are ready for departure. Medical facilities across 47 star systems have been prepared to receive the recovered individuals. Full reintegration should be complete within 6 months. As the human fleet began its journey to Earth, the galaxy was forced to confront a new reality. The species they had dismissed as primitive newcomers had revealed themselves to be the most advanced military force in galactic history. They had not simply joined the galactic community, they had announced their arrival as its protector. Admiral. Morrison's final transmission to the Galactic Council was brief and to the point. The Draconis Empire has been eliminated. The threat to galactic civilization no longer exists. Humanity formally requests recognition as a full member of the Galactic Council, with all rights and responsibilities. We also recommend that details of our military capabilities be classified. At the highest security level, the request was approved unanimously without debate. No one wanted to risk making enemies of a species that could eliminate entire fleets in a matter of hours. Ambassador Korvath watched the human ships disappear into hyperspace, carrying with them the rescued souls of billions of beings. "What have we learned today?" he asked his aide. "That we were very fortunate," came the reply. "Fortunate that humans chose to be our allies rather than our conquerors." In the depths of space, the last trace of the Draconis Empire was finally eliminated. Captain Blake's ship destroyed the final biospore, a microscopic remnant that might have eventually regrown into a new threat. The message he sent was simple. Galactic space is now clean. Humanity's work here is done. The war that had consumed the galaxy for 50 years was over. Humanity's involvement had lasted exactly 5 hours and 17 minutes. The galaxy would never be the same, but for the first time in decades it was safe. On Earth, in the quiet command centers hidden beneath ice and stone, human military leaders began planning for the next threat. Because there would always be a next threat, and humans would be ready. That was what they did best.